Thank you very much, Senator Coons. I think just as Senator Shaheen indicated, the sooner we get these guys in place, the sooner we'll be able to rectify some of these things. So with that, I'm going to move to Senator McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Shaheen. And thank you to the nominees for appearing before us at what is undoubtedly an incredibly consequential time. I have no doubt you'll serve honorably and ably, and I'm thrilled to support your nominations. Mr. Regas, I'd like to start with you. Earlier in my career, I served in several senior roles in the government, in the national security arena, and I saw firsthand the importance of foreign assistance for our national security. Now that I'm concerned. I think we have more than a few examples of foreign aid and the bureaucracy getting ahead of itself, of supporting an ideological agenda, and that's why I supported the review of all foreign assistance. But now that the review is complete or near completion, I want to give you a chance to clarify whether we are continuing aid programs that, to paraphrase Senator Rubio, will make America safer, stronger, and more prosperous. And in particular, I'm interested in foreign aid and investment as an important arrow in the quiver for combating China's Belt and Road Initiative. Through the Counter PRC Influence Fund, foreign assistance programs have helped NGOs spotlight human rights abuses by the Chinese Communist Party, provide insights into China's opaque economy, and provide partner nations with economic alternatives to China's Belt and Road. And Mr. Regas, do you expect, or are we continuing those efforts?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I look forward, if confirmed, to looking under the hood in terms of what's going on with the pause. I believe it's a 90-day pause, so I don't think it's concluded yet. But to the extent that aid is going to be flowing towards efforts to counter the PRC and counter the Belt and Road Initiative, I think from the president's statements, he's been very clear about the challenge that China faces to the United States and to its interests. I think he views China as a strategic competitor to the United States. The way he talks about them, I don't think he talks about them in terms of them being an adversary as much as they are vigorously pursuing their own interests, and that is almost always at our expense. So I think he would, I don't want to presume what actions the president will take or the secretary will take, but I don't think his past statements on China should be cause for concern in terms of programs that are being undertaken right now at USAID to counter China and the Belt and Road Initiative.
Well, I'd like to note, and while I probably disagree with Senator Coons and Shaheen about the magnitude of the abuse of spending, I do agree with the fact that from a national security perspective, there are certain foreign aid initiatives that are absolutely critical. I would suggest to you that those combating China, which I do view as an adversary, are particularly relevant, and I would want to make sure that in the future that we talk about that. I'd also like to flag for you the Development Finance Corporation and Millennium Challenge Corporation, which have much more performance-based orientation to how American assistance is provided, are role models here, and how do you expect those to be integrated into our foreign aid strategy?
Thank you, Senator. That's a great question. As Secretary Rubio said, and I think it's been repeated a few times during the hearing here, that we should look at all of the programs and spending and aid that we are engaged in at the State Department through the prism of three questions. Does it make America stronger? Does it make America more prosperous? Does it make America safer? And I think having some kind of metrics applied to this spending, so we can look at not just the outputs, how many dollars are being spent, but what are the outcomes we're getting from all of these programs. And so I would welcome the opportunity to work with you and your staff on the programs at MCC and DFC, and indeed across the entire spectrum of state, to make sure we're getting good outcomes.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Whitaker, good to see you. I think you and I both agree that President Trump laid out a credible path to peace with Ukraine, with an economic arrangement, an agreement to, or a hope of stopping the fighting and creating a deterrent. We also both agreed that Europe stepping up in a much more significant way was key to restoring deterrence. How's that going to happen? How do you expect that to happen? You said in your testimony that you thought there's much more of an orientation towards more investment on the part of Europeans. How do you see that playing out?
Well, obviously, if confirmed, that I'll be right in the middle of those conversations, and I appreciated the time we spent together last week. We've known each other for a long time, and it's good to see you today and last week. I think our Europeans, partners in NATO, understand the challenge. The question is, how fast can they rise to the challenge? And I'm planning on, if confirmed, going there in the first 30 days, meeting with every single ally one-on-one and finding out what their path to the 5% is, and if they can't get there, understanding why they can't get there or why they're unwilling to. And those are the conversations that, again, with the confidence of the Senate, I'll be happy to go have with all of our important allies in Europe.
Thank you, and I'll just end with the statement. I agree with Senator Coons that based on Article 5, the Europeans, NATO did step up after 9/11, but I also will note that despite decades of constant pressure from American presidents, including Democrats, NATO continues to underinvest relative to its very commitments. And so this is not open to discussion. They have failed to meet their obligations, and I hope you'll be able to convince them that it's in their interest to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Murphy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Landau, I deeply appreciate your service to this country and your willingness to come before this committee. But I'll be honest with you,